So I was asked a question on the one of the previous videos I posted about getting your life on track when you've given up. Firstly, I'd say if you're asking those questions and you haven't given up because you are actively looking at how to get better, so you've taken the first step. You're probably just not doing anything much after that yet. Um, so if you think you've given up, it's not impossible to grab a pen and paper, even though it might feel like it if you're in bed at the minute and you've got no motivation. So create yourself a daily plan, Monday to Sunday, on a bit of paper, some lines going down the middle, and make sure that on that plan your bedtime says 10:30 or 10 o'clock or something like that every night, and it's the same time. And make sure that your wake up time is the same each morning, and get yourself into some form of routine. You don't have to necessarily make all those changes at once, change them week to week so they slowly improve. But having the things you need to do written down in front of you in place every day, pinned to your fridge or laminated next to your bed so you look at it as soon as you wake up, really will help. You have to just resist the urge to lay around in self-doubt and self-pity, because that is the real problem with depression and anxiety. I mean, it sounds cruel, but you just pity yourself so much and you hate everything about yourself so much that you just really can't see any way of I don't of sort of doing anything. You just, you're so scared of either you hate how you feel physically, or you hate how you feel mentally, or a bit of both, or your actual body in general. Like, for me personally, it was how I felt physically. I had a tight chest all the time. I had constant panic attacks, maybe 20, 30 a day. Like, they felt like they were continuous, but they weren't quite continuous. One would stop and I'd maybe have a few minutes where my body was so exhausted it couldn't panic, and then another one would start. And it got to the point where I was suicidal, but I wasn't depressed. And that's the other real big pointer for me, and something that I believe doctors should look at more. I generally always advise you go to a doctor first, because I am not a doctor, so I can't give actual medical advice, but I can give my own life experience. And from reading case studies and from research, doctors prescribe antidepressants for anxiety too often. Antidepressants made my anxiety much worse, and that was because I wasn't depressed. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live and be able to live again. But the problem was I didn't see a way out of how intensely anxious I was. It got to the point where it felt unbearable. So the only thing I thought I could do was to kill myself to get through it. But I never did that. I was never successful, because deep down I didn't want that. I just wanted it to get me enough attention for people to make me feel better. For people to look at that at me and think, hold on a minute, that guy's in a bit of a crisis. He needs some pretty severe help. And they were all cries for help more than me actually really wanting to not exist. I wanted to exist so much that I was prepared to swallow my pride and go to A&E 20 times a day and try and find what was wrong with me. But in fact, by doing that, I made myself more ill. So, I've been low, and I know that the best thing is it's routine, and it's not having a fear of how you feel. Even if the feeling itself is really uncomfortable, it is only a feeling. It's not a physical thing that's happening to you. It will cause physical changes, so you will have an upset stomach quite a lot. Maybe you will get stomach aches, headaches, twitchy muscles, but it's all happening because of psychological processes that are a bit screwed up in your brain that you need to straighten out. So in terms of that question to the person that asked, you need to get, even if you enjoy nothing now, you need to write into your daily plan the things you used to enjoy, and you need to do them, and you need to hate them week after week until they start to become enjoyable again, because by getting back to routine, you will make yourself get enjoyment back for life. If you don't feel that you used to do anything, then you need to think of a new hobby. Yes, it might seem dull to you at the minute, but what could you see yourself doing? But they need to be realistic. They need to be things that you sort of think, what I will actually do that, because otherwise the chances of you actually doing them when your motivation levels are so low are fairly slim. The main one that I spoke about with you via a private message actually was palpitations, though that seemed to be the most bothersome thing. So pulse checking and palpitations. So that is cardiophobia. You are scared of your heart, which would suggest to me you are scared of death. You're scared of dying. Which everyone is. It's perfectly normal. But it's probably got to a point with you at some point. Maybe something happened in your life. Maybe it didn't at all. Maybe you just got anxious. Sometimes there's triggers. Sometimes there aren't really any noticeable triggers. Sometimes the triggers are just too much stress and too much worry and not enough self-care. But my key tip for that is going to be proving that they're not dangerous to your body. And that is obviously only if a doctor's told you your body's fit and well and you're suffering with anxiety. But if he has, not many people with heart problems, are getting palpitations all the time. They call it the silent killer, and the reason they call heart failure and there's the silent killer is because a lot of people don't have a clue that there's anything wrong with their heart, and then it kills them. I would look at it in a way to say that your body's pretty healthy. Your heart is beating hard. You can feel it. It's going for it. It's working, but you start to focus on it to the point where now you feel it a lot of the time, and then you get these fluttery feelings in your throat, and they are very uncomfortable. But because they're uncomfortable, you've perceived them as a real danger and a threat. So once you do something against that, and the only thing you can really do is to raise your heart rate. So if you've got a gym near where you live, you need to sign up and need to be getting down there. I know we're in lockdown, but that's not going to be around for much longer. And you don't need a gym to exercise. If you're not exercising to get rid of it, then you won't get rid of it, in my opinion, really, or at least you may do, but it may take a long period of time. Exposure therapy is the quickest way of solving something. So it's essentially doing the thing that you fear doing the most, and with cardiophobia it's normally exercise. So get out and exercise when that problem's happening, and you'll start to see that the second you start exercising it stops anyway. And it'll very rapidly show you that you don't have a heart problem, because people with heart problems don't start having a heart attack and then go for a run, whereas you can do that. And they also don't have heart attacks every single bloody day or 5 times a week. So they don't suffer with continuous palpitations and things like that. They happen when they're about to have a heart attack because their heart's beating irregular. I'd put money on the fact that when you're having palpitations, there's absolutely nothing wrong with how your heart's beating. I imagine if you were on an ECG at the time, your heart would be beating completely normal rate. It would just be a fast heartbeat because you're panicking. So the only thing that's happening to your heart that's irregular when you think you're having these palpitations, I would say, is being fast because of the adrenaline you're adding to your body from the worry, and that is it. And then again, the only way you're going to cure that is by burning that adrenaline off, and the only way you do that is with physical exertion. So that's the number one thing. And then obviously the other main thing to fix the palpitations is to fix the anxiety that's causing them, which it almost certainly is. And that goes back to your life plan and doing self-care things to make it better. Go to bed early each night, read a book, meditate, wake up early, have your breakfast, go for a run. Do the things you used to do, whether you hate them and they feel impossible or not. And within a matter of weeks, if you could promise yourself you'd stick 100% to normal activity for 2 weeks straight, I'd be surprised if you don't make a 50-60% recovery. So if you could literally, no matter how you felt, keep doing everything how you were going to do it before the palpitations came on, you'd recover so bloody fast. But no one's going to do that. Everyone slips up, and that's what makes the recovery process slower, because you get the panic attack still, or you get the palpitations, and all of a sudden you don't go to the shops to get that loaf of bread, or you don't go to the gym, or you don't make that phone call because you just sat there in your own mind worrying about it and procrastinating about other things you could be doing. So life plan and the relaxation things I've spoken about before, it's meditation, it's smelly bracelets, lava rock bracelets with lavender oil on, so when you're panicking you can smell them. It's 5 things you can see, smell, taste and touch. It's deep breathing, but then that comes into meditation again, because that's what they teach you within meditation, is to deep breathe. If you like it, it's like lighting some scented candles, a diffuser in the room with chamomile and lavender oil in it or something. It's drinking chamomile teas. It's cutting every drop of caffeine out of your life, not just some of it. If you've got palpitations and anxiety, you don't need caffeine. That is not going to make you better. So stop it. Yes, you'll feel crap for a few weeks if you're a caffeine addict, but that will, and it might even exacerbate the problem momentarily because you've taken something away. So it's a bit like having a hangover. Your body will be like, ugh, what have you done? But if you're drinking any caffeine at all, then you are actively feeding the problem. You're not making it better. So cut that out. Just anything relaxes you. Warm baths, weighted blankets, candle light, or nice warm glow light bulb where you might have a really bright white one at the minute. It's down to stupid little things that just make your whole environment cozier, more comfortable, and more relaxing to be in. But exercise is key, and so is diet. If you want any more specific questions, you've only got to ask. And like I say, I offer private therapy. It is chargeable, but sometimes and minutely, that's the only way out. But you have to remember, even with therapy, you're only helping yourself. The therapist is just giving advice. You are the person that makes yourself better. The therapist doesn't make you better. They just tell you the things to do to make yourself better. So if you haven't got the motivation to do those things, you won't recover. So you have to motivate yourself enough to do the things people like me are telling you, and then you will start to recover. Even if you felt ill for 15 years, if you do that, you will recover. But habit is awful. The longer you do something, the more you ingrain it, the harder it is to stop doing it. So that's the same with anxiety and unhealthy coping mechanisms. So if it's been going on years for you, it's going to be a battle, but you can get better if you listen and if you do. Thanks for listening anyway. I hope this has helped for the person that asked me about it. I deleted this video about 25 times because I wasn't happy with it, so this one's going to have to do. And I'll post another one soon. But guys, like I say, I know I've got like 62 odd people following me now. You must want to watch these videos. I can't see why else you'd follow the video. So ask some bloody questions, get commenting, chat to each other. Let's get something going. And get onto Sunrise Aaron New Therapy's Facebook and give us a follow and a like if you don't mind. Because there you can directly speak to me on Messenger as well, and I'll reply straight away. We can talk about private therapy, anything really, and we can all get a chat and a little community going. That'd be great. Speak to you soon. Cheers, bye.